ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Brightlingsea Town Council planning meeting of the 11th of February 2025. First of all on the agenda, apologies for absence.
Apologies from Councillor Howard.
Thank you very much. You had copies of the minutes of the last meeting of the 28th sent to you. Are there any issues, or can I confirm them as accurate?
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Item 3, can I ask for any declarations of disposable pecuniary interests on the items on the agenda? I take that as a no, thank you very much. So moving on to item 4 and the recommendations in respect of the planning applications. Application 25/00123, which is a full householder planning application at 20 George Avenue, Brightlingsea. I think you have the diagram in front of you. This is a single story extension on the back, as shown on the lower diagram. Any
comments from neighbours?
no, nothing.
They've got very long gardens, haven't they?
And in fact, I think this builds out to the building line of next door,
Yeah.
so it levels it off with next door.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
And in fact, the other side is slightly longer, I think.
Yeah. No, I haven't got any problem.
No.
I did look at it.
Okay. Right. Well, I think that we I can't remember now. Support. Thank you. Support. Moving on to application 25/00124, consecutive. Right. 66 Redburn Road, Brightlingsea, and this is approval of listed consent for the replacement of existing decorative softwood. I think I know this place as Tudor, and as I understand from what I read on the full application, it's purely the bit on the far left of the building where the green is.
Mm-hmm.
They want to replace the decorative wood that make it the Tudor effect, what I call it.
I don't think the roof line's that straight.
No, I don't. At least it's been patched up.
Peg ties, isn't it? Yeah, that's a lovely old building.
I always thought they used oak for that.
Probably. Yes, I must admit, I was surprised to see that it was softwood.
Yeah, it won't last.
But it,
It says decorative.
I'm assuming that the planning people know what they're talking about as far as that's concerned.
So why are they asking? Is this a structural support?
No, I believe this is a listed building.
It's listed.
But,
It's definitely
like I
listed.
say, they will rot very quickly unless they use oldwood. Because
I've got
it
no-
absorbs all the water out of concrete.
Yeah, but
when it rains.
whether they're matching to what's already there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
possible.
no problems because it does need.
I would have thought the conservation people, being a listed building, will crawl all over this.
Yeah.
don't they?
Yes.
Well, I was going to say I've got no problems providing it's kept in keeping
Yeah.
with what is there.
Mm.
Well, let's support this with that caveat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in keeping.
Yes.
With caveat
Of that it's
In keeping.
with
with
existing or
The
something.
existing building.
I think. Yeah.
Rags Cottage, isn't it?
As in old
Yeah.
orange boxes won't
Rags
do.
Cottage, yeah.
Maybe
Say again?
in keeping means it's not old orange boxes and things used.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be handy, wouldn't it?
Right, moving on then, application 25/00167, it's another householder application, planning application, rear ground floor extension with conservatory. Have you got that one up?
Which photo drawing would you like?
Have you got elevations? It's the best one, I think. So I think what you'll find is, can you see the line, the vertical line that's taking the diagram on the right bottom? See that vertical line?
Mhm.
That is where the building line is at the moment. And they're inserting that extra, whatever it is, couple of metres, and then putting a conservatory on the back.
Again, they've got really long.
Gardens.
If
New
you
Street, isn't it?
No, it's
yeah, New Street.
It's
yeah.
like Bond Street, yeah.
Do you want to see if there's a plan so we can compare it with next door?
Whereabouts?
What number New Street is it?
59?
59?
There.
They've got
It's
quite.
there.
It's to do, isn't it?
And what will it look like when it's had the building?
I wouldn't think it's going to come out much more to where the neighbours was next door.
But I mean, there's all sorts of extensions down there.
Yeah, you see, next door has got an extension, haven't they?
Some of them knowledge of council,
It's-
others not.
It's gone out further than the one to the south. I think
Yeah.
that's the south.
Yeah.
Or southwest, but it's not as far, or probably just the same as the one to the northeast.
Any comments from neighbours again?
I
No,
can't. Yeah.
Complete mishmash
Very nice
down
big
there.
gardens, your street.
Yeah.
It's a complete mishmash down there anyway, so you know, not
Comment?
much of it.
Yeah, no, I've got no problem.
No, but
It's not overlooked, and yeah.
Okay, so thank you, that's another support. And then finally, number 5, to note the application for information only. It's a non-material amendment of 24/008/21, I don't think that's right. It's a drawing change. I looked at it and I mean, it's a drawing.
I couldn't see any change, could you?
I think it's a green line that may be thicker. So it's, I think that's purely technical. And then finally, we haven't had any notice of appeal decisions?
No.
No? And can we make a note at the next meeting to bring the enforcement list? Because there is a new enforcement list running around, we might have to have a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think we've seen one for about 3 or 4 months. Have we?
No, we don't get them as often as we did.
Okay. Any other?
No other news about Robinson Road developments and nothing like that?
No, they're still waiting now for.
Curlews to fly in.
No, well, the curlews, the
Curlews.
First Natural England survey that come back said there was more curlews there than what they felt, and that a full report needed to be done.
Right.
So,
There is a question I have. Is any reaction to our refusal on the Essex County Council minerals extraction licence?
No, only the email that came in from Essex County, which I sent to you, and we drafted a response, with nothing since.
You'll have to remind me what that was saying about. That was about the.
that was asking for the extension, wasn't it?
That was the extension one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There hasn't been anything since we responded
No.
now.
Good.
Shane?
No, I think it's good.
And I've just given Chris a copy of the meeting document from last night, which is your planning policy and local plan, which has now been redrafted to take in the extra housing that now needs to come in, whereas we thought we were going to have to do. It's just over 500 at the moment. It's increased to 750, which is going to
Over what area?
over the tendering area.
Oh, tendering, okay.
And it's now 1,034 houses per year. This will start kicking in from January 26. Chris has got a copy of it. There is 4 options now, not 6. The ones they are going to push for is option A and B, which means Brightonsea will have to take between 100 and 300 extra houses.
And what happens if there's not a builder or an applicant who wishes to build anything?
Well,
How can they
actually, we
fix
had Rose Builders there last night, and that come up several times. If you don't meet your quota, your neighbour has to take it. Colchester's got higher numbers than we have. Tendering, they've got to take 1,300 a year. If not, the government will step in. But
We'll do what?
as they've said, as it came up, Garden Communities was a good example they were using. It's 10 years now down the line. So, you know, as they said, if nobody is there to do them buildings, 10 years' time, yes, we can say we've allocated spaces, But you cannot force people to do it.
if they can't sell them, why would they build them?
And as
So how would
I was
how would
saying,
force-
there is lack of builders.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to start training up these people to
Yeah.
build these houses that you want.
It's like a barn.
It's a really good document. It's Gary and Paul Wood who wrote all the document.
Ooh.
It's a very interesting document to read. So they've given me the public copy because they didn't have any spare agendas. So Chris has got that.
You really want to read it, by all means.
You know,
I'll leave
people
it
are
here.
more than happy
Yeah.
to flick through mine, but as you can see, I scribble notes all over mine.
A, B and C all are 300. With D being
30 to 100, wasn't it?
30 to 100.
Yeah.
But, so if they pick 1, 2 or 3, A, B or C, it doesn't make any difference to us.
So does that give us pressure as a planning consideration that when people put an application in to build a house and we don't think it's appropriate, does that give us pressure to look at it favourably? I mean,
I think
Not at the moment, but it will. And
the real thing is that when they come up with these numbers, they'll then have to reallocate land to them.
yeah.
And if it's on that land, you're going to have real trouble
Yes.
objecting.
Yes.
But if it's not on that land,
Yes.
then you can. And I think
I was
that's
thinking that an infill down Lime Street or something would we be under more pressure to look at it favourably because of the need for build houses.
I think because we've got a government inspectorate report on Lime Street, I think we're safe on Lime Street.
Okay, well that was just.
But as the government kept coming back to our planning officers and said it's mandatory. With, you know, they're your housing targets. And they've gone back to them several times and said our infrastructure is not suitable, what Chris and I were talking about.
I mean, this is.
And the government will have to provide. And now that they've come back and said, you know, they're not saying no, they won't, but they're going to have to. There's just not going to be.
A, B or C will actually produce 7,000 to 8,000 houses. And 7,000 to 8,000 houses needs doctors, schools, God knows what else.
Yeah.
I think when you read to the back, Chris, on it's got what's got to be done, and one of the biggest things that come up last night was water.
Yeah.
We know from, are we under Anglia Water or
Yeah, I
something?
agree with you.
That they've already said it's getting so difficult to pipe water into Brightlingsea. And that's one of the surveys.
Yeah.
That's one of the surveys that's got to be done first.
I think where I read it, you know, on the government side, I got the impression, you know, one house, they're looking for 1.7 million. I don't think they're after us in the sense of we don't want a house here, we want it there or something like that. What they're after is, you know, the bogus is, you know, where you're going to put 3,000 or something like that. So I wouldn't personally, as the chair of this meeting, find difficulty in objecting to one house. Where I
It's
think
the bigger.
when they start saying 12, 15, 20, 50, that's when
In
we're
a new
The thing that
designation.
worries me is the infrastructure. The
Yeah.
doctors, for example, is appalling the state. My poor ex-wife turned up there one morning, virtually dying on her feet, and they told her to come back in 3 days.
that's the.
Because they overloaded, they haven't got the...
But the doctors don't help themselves. Nor
No,
do the
probably
schools.
not, no, probably not, Jane. Then they'll have to be made to fit in.
The doctors, from what I've been told by the NHS, were they Integrated Care Commission people?
So, yeah.
What they have right now is competition. They don't want another doctor in town.
No, they don't, they've said they don't.
Well, that's an easy one to answer, isn't it? I think that's what we do with that.
But that last report, the authority monitoring report, is probably the best one. That's really good
Right, okay, I'll read
to
that one.
read through.
Okay. Anyway, I think that concludes the meeting.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Was any more said about the proposition that Graham Steady had from the landowner, that he would give us half the land if we allowed him to build